Welcome back. This tutorial is going to be on the trim tool. The trim tool, unlike the delete tool, works a little backwards than the way you would think it would. Usually if we're deleting a line or an object, we are used to clicking on that object and then just hitting delete and it goes away. So you're essentially clicking on the thing you want to go away first, which is not how the trim tool works. It's a little backwards. So the trim tool is right here on the modify menu. Mouse over it, it says trim. And the way it works is that after you select trim, it asks you first, what do you want to use as your cutting edge? So what it's really asking for is, what do you want to use as the knife? For this top left object here, let's say that I wanted to trim it so that I've just got a little backwards L here. So I want this part to go away on the right, and I want this part on the bottom to go away. What I have to decide is, what do I want to use as a knife? First, I'm going to cut the vertical line. If I'm going to cut the vertical line, I have to use the horizontal line as a knife, because the horizontal line intersects the vertical line. So I'm going to select the horizontal line as my cutting edge, hit space, and then it tells you pick the piece that you want to go away. So I have the option of whatever's above the line or whatever's below the line. In this case, I want what's below the line. I select that, it goes away. Using a similar process, I now want to cut the horizontal line so that all of this stuff after the vertical line goes away. Again, I select the trim tool, and now I select the cutting edge. In this case, the cutting edge or knife is going to be this vertical line. Space to say this is my knife, and then you select the piece of the object that you want to go away. In this case, this horizontal line on the right side. Hit escape, and it's gone. One thing you need to note about using the trim tool is that, for instance, if you've got two objects that don't intersect each other, you cannot use them as cutting edges. If I tried, for instance, let's just say this line was a little longer, if I wanted to trim this vertical line so that it disappeared below that point, I would not be able to use this line as a cutting line because it does not intersect it. So if I try to do it, trim, I'm going to use this as my cutting line, and what do I want to go away? This. You'll notice it doesn't do anything. And it gives you a message down here in the command bar that the object does not intersect an edge. So your cutting plane actually has to intersect your object. In this example, I used just one cutting plane at a time. I'm going to use this circle to show you how you can use more than one cutting plane at a time. Essentially, you've got two knives at the same time. What I want to do is I want to take this circle and I want to get rid of this pie-shaped piece up here in the top right corner, and also the pie-shaped piece in the bottom left corner. In order to do that, I'm going to need two cutting edges at one time, and it's going to be these two lines. So I select the trim tool. Now when it asks for what I want my cutting edge, I want both of these lines. So I click both of these lines before I hit spacebar to say those are my knives. Now I click what I want to go away. In this case, I want this pie shape up here to go away, so I'll click up here, and because it's between two cutting planes, the line between those will go away, and the same thing will happen in the bottom left corner. What you're left with is these two arcs. You don't have to just use straight lines or construction lines as cutting edges. You can use arcs, anything that intersects, any two lines or objects that intersect. So if I wanted to get rid of the yellow pieces of the line that extend past the arc, I can select the trim tool, and again, I'll select two knives at one time. This time, instead of the lines, I'm selecting the arcs as the knives, hit space, and then I click all of the little pieces that I want to go away. As long as my arcs intersect those lines, it should trim them perfectly. That's the trim.